put something in your ear. It was a perverted thing to say, but I said it anyway. Made you smile and look away. Nothing's gonna hurt you, baby. As long as you're with me, you'll be just fine. Nothing's gonna hurt you, baby. As long as you're with me, you'll be just fine. That's a song. And I don't really have much to talk about for today's video, but I do want to get back into making regular uploads at least once a week. And I have a few things that I'm thinking of in order to make that happen. One of them is, like putting a mount for a camera on my dash of my car, because I'm driving so much now to get to and from work that it just makes sense to be able to, like, if I have something on my mind, I'll just talk about it to a camera while I'm driving. So that's one thing I could do. Updates in life, not a whole lot really, just doing job. Cleared out my closet. I'm looking at my closet right now. It's looking fairly barren compared to what it was before, but it's a lot easier to navigate my closet now, which is good. That's a good thing. I can bring in some natural light. Why not? Why not? What do I have behind me? Is there anything? Yeah. We're gonna go like this. Wait, hold on. No, we're gonna get you a tripod here. I'm gonna get a tripod going, because I don't want you to see my background. So I have one other thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently is personal security. And personal security, by that I mean, like, what can people find out about you if you, without you telling them, basically? Like, if you just walk into a store, what can people tell about you just by looking at you? There we go, some lighting. What can people tell just by looking at you? Now that's a thing I've been thinking about recently because, security company I'm now working for, it's got me thinking about it. Just like if I were to wear a piece of clothing that had the company logo on it out in public, would I want people to know that I work at that specific workplace? Probably not. Because if they are out to get me or something, now I'm not saying that this is like reality, like the chances of this of happening are extremely, extremely low, but let's say somebody did not like you and they wanted to get back at you for whatever reason. If they saw that you were wearing a company logo, they would know where your workplace is, and they'd probably know where you go in the mornings. So that's not good, I don't think. And I've been thinking about, like, I go to thrift stores pretty often, and I find clothing and jackets and stuff that have logos on them, but they're not for the company that I work for. Maybe it would be worth wearing a jacket with a different logo on it as a red herring for anybody who was trying to take advantage of that avenue of, that security, that attack vector, I guess I should say. I think too much about these things. People at my workplace know, and they they tell me I think too much about these things. But it's an important thing to me. And I think as somebody who's working in security, should probably have that sort of stuff on their mind by default. That should be something that they enjoy thinking about, or like it's just a part of who they are as a person. That's why they should be in that position, you know? So, yeah, that's one thing. This is sort of just, you know, I'm not talking about anything specific here. Meal prepping. I think I'm just like gonna talk about stuff that has helped me get used to the process of working full-time from the perspective of somebody who has never worked full-time before in that capacity. You know, I've done part-time jobs and stuff that were almost full-time jobs, but they're nothing like this. They're not like serious, they're just minimum wage. Anyway, back to the point of the video, which I have now established, is getting used to that, getting used to a new environment where you have to join the rat race and that sort of stuff. So, with that being said, another thing that I've been doing a lot, or trying to do at least, is meal prepping. But not like super serious meal prepping. I've looked into like making breakfast burritos and stuff to take with me to work, excuse me. But that's a lot of work. And I don't have the ingredients right now. I'd have to go to the store to get some ingredients. But what I have been doing is taking oats and making overnight oats with like Greek yogurt and protein powder, peanut butter, banana, berries, that sort of stuff. And that's been pretty good so far. You know, it saves me a lot of time in the mornings when I can't make eggs or do that sort of stuff. And it usually lasts me 2 days, you know. 5 minutes of preparation for 2 mornings of breakfast. That's pretty good, I'd say. So that's a thing. Is there anything else to talk about, really? Part of the reason I haven't been making videos or vlogs is like I don't have much to talk about, and I could do something similar to like Casey Neistat or somebody like that who just documents their lives, even though their life isn't like the most interesting life in the world. They document it anyways. But as a security person, I don't want all my information to be out there. That's the problem. That's the conflict that I'm dealing with right now. It's like I have the potential to make more videos and stuff, but it would have to be about stuff that I don't want out in the public knowledge base. Does that make sense? I don't, like, you as the viewer, I don't want you to know too much about me such that you can track me down and find out where I live and that sort of thing. That's not in my best interest. And sometimes when I watch YouTubers that aren't well known, that make sort of the same style of video that I make, and they don't put as much thought into the knowledge that people can gain from specific characteristics or like details of their videos. So for example, like somebody has a shot and in the frame they have, you know, I can't think of a specific example, but like let's say they have a specific garbage can or something in that frame of the shot outside of their window. You could probably narrow down what part of the world they are using that information, just like what that garbage can looks like, because they look different depending on where you are in the world. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. So, judging from this video, I don't know what you can tell. You know? I don't know how many times the background has been in frame, and that background has all of, like, not a lot of information. I'm sure what you can gain from my previous videos is stuff you can, is only stuff, whatever you can gain from that wall back there is whatever you can gain from what you've already seen on my channel already, so it's not that big of a deal, but, you know. Minimize attack surface. That's where my brain is. I do realize how crazy this sounds. I do. I really do realize that maybe there's some illness going on here inside of my brain that makes me think this way, but I don't think it's a problem. Sometimes I think that that other people not thinking about this is an issue. You know, maybe I think about it a little too much, but most people don't think about it enough. And I was having a conversation with a coworker at one point, and he was telling me that, you know, he never really thinks about how. Like, he was telling me something that he didn't like. It was personal information, so he didn't want you know, other people finding out. And then I looked at the security cameras and stuff I had set up, and I was looking at my laptop, and like, they're always listening. Like, all of the stuff that has a microphone, it's constantly, whether you know it or not, it's best to assume that it's listening and it's logging all that information. So, yeah. Maybe it's unhealthy to think that way. But that's not to say that it's not true. There's a good chance that it is true, that everything is listening all the time. And you know, the people that I've talked to who are higher up in positions at the company, they tell me that, like, the only privacy you can really have is, you know, if you're in your house with all of your devices turned off. Because the second you go outside, you're probably on 10 different cameras. You know, everybody has these door cameras now that are owned by Amazon, the Ring cameras, I think they're called, and then all of the security cameras that people are installing at their houses now, they're all Wi-Fi based, and they all connect to your network, and that can all be sent. It's all cloud based too. The services that the security camera companies offer are all cloud based. You need to pay a subscription for it, and I think it's absolutely insane that you're paying for somebody else to take and use and sell footage from the front of your house, or like wherever you have these cameras. Absolutely insane to me. Like, we live in such a backwards world where that should never even be a consideration that anybody should make. Yeah, I want to willingly put cameras in front of my house and give all of that footage to governments. And I want to give all that footage to some company that I know nothing about, who has a very real financial incentive to sell that data in order to make a profit, and also help out law enforcement agencies. What are we doing here, people? What are we doing here? We need more CCTV. We need what Louis Rossmann talks about. If you don't know Louis Rossmann, you probably know Louis Rossmann if you are into that whole side of the internet on YouTube. Louis Rossmann talks a lot about CCTV and how the flock cameras in the United States and like everywhere in the world actually are a really big security hazard, security risk, because they're all running outdated versions of Android and they're all very hackable apparently. And companies who have their own security system, it's all CCTV. It's not centralized and cloud-based like these flock cameras are. So if a government official or somebody in a law enforcement agency wanted footage from your office, your workplace building, they would have to contact you and have a warrant and actually go physically to that location in order to look at the footage. With centralized cloud-based solutions, that is not a thing. That is not a thing. And they put in super weak security measures in order to prevent people from accessing these cameras unlawfully. You know, police officers aren't perfect. They are also people. And there have been numerous occasions of people, officers, using like flock safety cameras in order to spy on their ex-wives and like all of that stuff. And the world is, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. I usually end up talking about the same things on these videos because those are the things I think about most frequently. And the things I think about most frequently don't really change on a day-to-day basis. Maybe they should. Because I don't really get exposed to a lot of different data, stimuli over the course of my months, on a month-by-month basis. So I usually end up thinking about the same thing. Anyway, that's all I got for today's video. It's already 15 minutes. Oh my goodness. Okay, goodbye.